Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
I'll quickly just tell you the basic concept of clustering, and then I'll show you the example. I promised you that, I'll discuss what work we have done in the drones area. Okay. So, we all know clustering is a part of unsupervised learning, right? Because we cannot give labels up front. Okay. The data has to learn from itself, how we can form the clusters. So if what do we mean by clustering is defined as similar data points grouped to the same cluster. Just now inventory problems we have discussed, right? All fast moving goods can be clubbed. Okay. So, and the similar points are separated by assigning to different cluster. Okay. So like here example is given. Can the two groups, like within groups, they exhibit similar attributes, but within group, they are not similar. They are dissimilar. Okay. Now, what is the concept here? If you would collect data, right? So, suppose the distance between them, the distance between this two is lesser. The distance between this two is lesser than the distance between this two. Okay, right? So, when we will be having fast moving goods, category 1, if it is 50 units are used in one day, another category 52 units. So, they are similar, correct? 52, 50, right? It's very similar thing, right? Attribute can be a distance, attribute can be a consumption rate, attribute can be anything, right? When a group of items exhibit similar data points and they can be grouped in such a way, so they exhibit closer attribute data than the other. So it's like grouping. Okay. Start moving. Yeah. So we want to create homogeneous group or finite set of customers or any any SKUs, right? So there are examples, retail, insurance, this thing in healthcare. We have clusters of communities to be vaccinated. Like in Chennai region, we can have, see, Anna University, IIT, two big institutes are there. This is a student zone, more of student zone. Okay, if we need to do cluster, this cluster is having more students. Okay, homogeneous. Likewise, if we have to create the clusters, okay, so cluster is different from classification. Classification, we already have pre-existing levels like unsupervised learning. Okay, but in clustering, we will divide the input into groups, and then we will assign the points in the respective groups. And what do we use? There are different kind of distance and dissimilarity measures in clustering. We can use Euclidean distance, standard deviation. What is Euclidean distance? Right? 2 coordinates, all the square root. Correct? So that we all know Euclidean distance. Right? For now, we will say Euclidean distance or standardized Euclidean distance we can use to group it. Okay. For example, we have data, right, about 20 wines sold in market along with alcohol and alkalinity of ash content. This is the data with us. There are 20 data points. How we can cluster them? Okay. So what do we mean? We have x-axis, x coordinate and y coordinate. We can treat them as x coordinate and y coordinate. Can we plot them? When we would plot, we can see that, we have got 3 clusters. Right? Now, what is there in this cluster? Right? the distance between, this cluster 1 within them is lesser as compared to the distance between the items in cluster 1 and cluster 2. Okay. Variation within a cluster is lesser than the variation between cluster. And this is the logic which is used in the cluster 1. Now what intuitively we can do that? We can actually just forget it. So there are different k-means clusters, means you have to decide we want to have k-means means how many clusters I want to have from the data. K is equal to 1 cluster. K is equal to 2, I want to do 2 clusters. So what you have data points now, like you decide I want to have 2 clusters, K is equal to 2. So what you will do, pick any 2 points from the data. Correct? Now we will treat these 2 data points are the centroid points. With respect to first point, find out the distance. Okay? Whether that distance is closer to this one or this one, you keep assigning them. Right? Once you assign them, now find out the centroid of that whole region. What do you mean I say? So suppose this is the intermediate thing we have done. We selected this point as a starting point. Okay? And then find out the distance between this point and all other points, and we have found that. After doing that, now we have got the region. Right? Now this region, we will find what is the centroid point, the middle point. Okay? Now the middle point will change from the starting point. Now consider this middle point. Now again, find out from this middle point what is the distance of all points. Keep doing iteratively till you assign all the points to the clusters. Assign each point to the closer. For example, there are 7 points. I will arbitrarily take K1, K2, first 2 coordinates. Okay? And with these points, we will take the middle point, right? The distance between them. That is to check, they are different. Right? Now, we will see that take one by one. 2 is closer to 1. Assign individual 2 to cluster 1. Likewise, we will keep doing that, right? So, distance from the chosen point and all other points. So, you will keep doing that. Yeah. So, till we assign all the points to the closer point. So, this is right. Again, I will say that will not go into details, but this is the concept of clustering. Okay, mostly the k-means clustering. Now we have used similar concept and so this is the live project. This is the real life project. In fact, this student is going to defend his thesis today. This is a Master of Science by Research. So the problem is that, I'll still straightway go to the problem that, so we thought that we will address a problem that if we have to supply something to remote area or difficult to access areas, where the terrain, the geography is like that. Lot of mountains, peaks are there. Okay. And can we use, the latest vehicles, generally we say unmanned aerial vehicles or drones, right? Because, if we will deploy trucks to give away vaccines or any other medical products, it will take a lot of time. You know that in this kind of terrain, it takes double the time to reach the same distance in the plain area. So this thing was that, where we should launch the drones, that's another problem. Okay, where we should launch the nodes when, we have different levels of medical facilities existing in that zone, right? There are PHCs, public health centers, community health centers. Then there are small clinics. Likewise, we have identified some. So these are the potential problems. You see yellow pins. These are the healthcare facilities existing across Meghalaya. We have taken state of Meghalaya. So these are the 156 or 159 points, potential points. Okay. These are the potential points also, which can be designated as launch point, and these points need to be served also. Okay. So how we can go about it? The challenges were that, so if we will deploy a drone, so from one point to another point, there can be peak in between. How to identify that, right? And given the peak, right, and the terrain, how will we cluster? Okay, how we are going to cluster? So from here, so if I will choose let's say this point, right? So if from the picture it is very clear, maybe this can be a cluster, right? But wait, there can be a big peak here. It cannot be clustered. How to identify these obstacles? Okay, because to reach to this point, if this peak is there, drone has to lift lot of energy to go up and then move and then come down, lot of energy consumed. So keeping in mind, now here the attributes was distance as well as energy consumption required by the drones, the batteries. Okay, so now how we would cluster, right? So this is what he did. He actually first mapped all the points, the coordinates, right? Found the distance, latitude, longitude. Then he used another software, QGIS, to see, here. This is a digital elevation map of Meghalaya. Okay. So I don't know whether the blue things or the red things shows the peaks. Okay. So that helped him to, this is the code he has written, right, to identify that, where drones have to read out, which zone, the peaks would come. Okay. So this is the thing, he have used. So this is the extra energy effort has to be taken if mountains or the peaks are there. So this is how, we have used the distance formula to do that. And then considering the power consumed in the battery of drones, we have identified, considering that, we have formulated the model. How many points and which points would be designated as launch points. So you see, we have 159 demand locations. So this is the assignment. So we got this many clusters. Okay. For example, node 3 can be a launch point which can be connected to different facilities. Now you see that some of the nodes like 122, it can serve to many points, right? Probably there are not many peaks there. But some of the nodes like 49, it can serve only 6 another facilities. Okay. So is it possible today? Right, today India doesn't have this thing, but tomorrow if pandemic situation would come, right, and they have to plan for it, here's a solution. You want to reach out to facilities 70, better to launch the drone at node 69. We are ready with this thing. Okay. This is the cluster which is like, facilities are closer and, you should launch from node 69. Okay. So this is how, we use the clustering in real life problems. Okay. So this is how he has shown the clusters, the reachable points. And then we did many experiments like, what if not all 159 only designated hospitals can be the points, then how it will differ, then the assignment would be different. So we have worked out. So this is the power of optimization also, clustering also, okay, and our GIS, right? This is one example of using clustering methods, right, in real life situation, and one we have discussed the real life application. Okay, so any question on that? Whatever we have discussed, right? The idea is not to teach you the whole technique or method, okay, because time is not enough, to teach this thing. But idea is to make you aware of, there are tools and techniques which are so powerful to solve real life problems, our day-to-day problems. Okay? At least if you are aware, now you can go back, explore more. Now this is the relevant problem. If I will have this one, I know I should use inventory model. I should use this clustering model. Okay? So at least that awareness you have got today. Yes. Any question? No. Unsupervised learning is that in supervised learning, probably I know that, this node is a launch point. Definitely. Okay. So this is, but in this is supervised learning when labels are already given. In unsupervised learning, I have no idea. Okay. The data would give me the labels. Okay. For example, you have inventory data, right? You don't know which is the fast moving item. This is the data. You will say the attribute is consumption of more than 100, right? Now clustering method will pick this is 100. This should be one cluster. Then you can label it, okay, this is my fast moving. Okay. However, in supervised learning, you already have demand data, you have this data, you know that this is my demand, probably this is the price, right? I would just establish relationship between them so that next time when this demand will come, I will be able to say, okay, now this is the price. That is supervised learning, right? Where the labels already pre-exist. But in clustering, the labels are not. Data would learn and will tell you, okay, this can be clubbed like this. This can be clubbed like this.
Not to type what is that right translated the data
Yeah.
the data
Yes.
the state may be can be
Based on this. Yeah. So we will say that our criteria is maybe distance, this content, then data will identify which of the data points are similar on this aspect. Let's combine them and then we can label, okay, this is the cluster exhibiting chemical content between this and this. Now we can label them.
the
What is that?
we saw the groups of the based on certain and on the
Right. No, see, the thing is that, once you get into that area, there are now many variants. Now, even clustering can be done in many variants. Okay, this is a vast. That's why, if you will start teaching clustering, even to cover basics, it needs at least 10 hours of course, there are many variants in clustering. Like how you perform clustering, right? One decision is, first of all, how many clusters I need. If you will say 2 clustered, your analysis will vary. If you want 3 clustered, the whole analysis would be varying, right? There are many variants of clustering. In SPSS, yes. In SPSS, yes. But nowadays, Python is very powerful. Yeah. Yes, Professor. Yeah.
you just said this
Yeah. So now even Python is more powerful, because, you can actually vary, and come up with many variants of clustering. Right. Any other question? If not, then we are entering in the very interesting mode. Okay. We are going to listen you.
Just 2 hours between you and me, and then you're all gone. So good morning. Thank you. The important thing to understand in general data analysis is what story your data is telling. I think you have to approach it that way. The techniques and all are there. I mean, somebody can come and help you. But unless you know what story that data has to tell you and why it has to tell you, so that mostly what we are trying to see are how effective we are with our resources to get some outcome, right? So that's what you are. In healthcare, resources are the most, precious commodities, whether it's people, whether it's time. And so with that, you're trying to be as effective as possible. What did we say? Effectiveness versus efficiency. Doing the right things and doing things right. So how do we know we are even doing the right things? Things like this clustering is a first step. Looking at the data and classifying and saying, if there is a nurse that has to travel, then the cluster is the first time to say, here are 2 clusters. You need 2 nurses to go visit these patients. So that tells you that's the right thing to do, is for management to think about 2 resources to deploy. And then you could go and do efficiently within that cluster what's the best route for the nurse to take so that they can maximize their time and also the number of patients they meet. So that's efficiency now. So here is an example of effectiveness, which is cluster. Efficiency, routing within the cluster, which even whether it's a drone or whether it's a person, similar kind of things are happening. So that's how I would approach these things. Yes, you all are going to deal with digital information coming to you because of the digital footprints. But what do you want to do with that? Rather than getting overwhelmed, I think it's nice to see what story you want your data to tell you and start from there. And then, techniques, tools, softwares, whether it's SPSS, you will figure it out. People there who are more knowledgeable, closer to the dome, will let you know what it is. But what do you want the data to say is a question that you have to think through, which comes through interacting with data many times. I mean, so we've spent now, 4.5 days now, looking at this information on healthcare. So I want to shut up and listen to you. What are some of the takeaways that you are taking from this 4 days? Just want to listen to some feedback because we've been talking for non-stop. So mics are there. Please start. I want the people who have not talked much to talk. We'll pass it along. So go ahead, right? Am I doing the right thing now? Okay, because he has to give me the orders. Anybody can start. What are some of the takeaways that you are taking with you now that you have listened to this for 4.5 days? Somebody should start. Otherwise, as Professor said, I will have to pick. Then I'm going to my nurse, my favorite nurse here, and asking her to start the conversation for us. That's a noble profession.
Good morning, sir. So, I've been in clinical area. I have seen shortage of supplies and etc. But I didn't know that these many things are happening behind the scenes. So I learned many things, and people are working hard behind every equipment and inventory management. I gained a lot of knowledge after coming here. I think this is very helpful for us in moving on further in my career as well.
Thank you. Brave, bold statements. Let me make one observation, please, based on what, and thank you for saying that, but the transition between information and knowledge is a very important, to me, it's a very religious one, very religion kind of a thing, because information everybody will give you. We have given you a lot of information. We've also given you some ways to connect that information to knowledge. only when you put it into your situation tomorrow and really say, what did I learn there? How can I explain something that's happening through what I learned? Would information translate to knowledge? Otherwise, it will remain as information, which is nothing wrong. But, so that's all I would tell is, please make that next step when you have the opportunity. When you hear the word inventory in your work, maybe you may want to think a little bit more than what you would normally think. Oh, I have that item or I don't have the item. That's our immediate reaction to it. So, somebody else, please. My industrial engineer. Think
Yes.
working. Yeah.
So, as a PhD scholar in this particular area, healthcare supply chain management, this particular course was very useful for me as to what happens in the real time situations across the globe, especially in the US, and how we can connect and relate, and how we can inculcate such procedures and problem solution to the problems in our Indian context. And especially with the drone situation in Ghana, that can be used here in our Indian context, where the rural area are not reached, and we can always use some of the examples from the US context too. So it was very useful for me, sir, as a scholar in this particular area, and where to look for and what situations can be addressed in the Indian context, and how I can proceed with my research. So it was very useful for me. Thank you very much, sir, for your vast experience and sharing it to us in these 4 days. It was very useful for me.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. To my entrepreneur.
Hi, sir. First of all, thank you for taking time for us, coming from US and teaching all these things for us. So when I come here, I don't know much idea about supply chain management. I have deep knowledge in ground level, where the 3PL be working like from warehouse to customer location. I have deep knowledge in that. But by coming here, I learned more about first mile delivery, mid mile delivery, and how to manage inventory, and making the real world examples into this scenario. I learned many new things about this supply chain, sir. Thank you for DOMS and GAN course for making this happen. Thank you, sir.
Thank you for inspiring us for others to become entrepreneurs. My person from public sector.
Good morning, sir. Sir, these 5 days are some awesome for me. Means I learned a lot what we used to do and what the benchmark lies. In public sector, we do things in a very raw way. We have these EDL lists supplied by our government, but the other analysis are not done frequently. And many things depend on the human resource, means their training, their way of looking at the problem, how much they have, how many years they have to retire. All these factors comes. A young nurse or nursing staff, she might be telling, a young nurse grabs these things very easily and enthusiastically, but a means older one who is supposed to be retired by 1 or 2 years, their approach is something different. So these are the very practical things. But yeah, what I got from here is that there are many things that yet to be implemented in our public sector. What I took it that in my back thought that I will be implementing some of this part in my OT and my SNC, where they are to some extent receptive, and they supply chain management, I want to read further on this. So that means the main requirement which the situation at which we require most are these during that COVID-like situation, or where there are a huge accident. So in those cases, the supply chain things comes, means it's been tested in that way. Few months back, we have a train accident in our NJP, nearby NJP. There we faced a lot of challenge regarding this supply chain, and I was there. So I was there in that situation. The pressure on hospital health setup was huge. Even for water bottle, we have to rely on something. There was a nice public partnership developed overnight. Local people used to come and help us in that way. So they also come into this scenario of supply chain in case of emergency. So I learned a lot, sir, and I would thank you, madam, everyone, for giving us such an opportunity. And I hope that in future also such type of course with much detailed things, if possible, can happen, because in health sector operation these things are very limited in our country. What I found in armed forces they may have something, but for general hospital stuff, this platform is unique, and I hope that this will continue to enlighten us. And sir, if some few books you suggest regarding this supply chain, then it will be a very good thing, sir. Thanks.
And so when you say we have learned risk here, so during emergency thing, if we have our risk registry ready, if the supply chain mapping is already ready, then you have to just push the button. All the nodes would become active, and work towards that. So that risk registry is not in healthcare, in other sectors also in India is not up to the mark. Okay. So this risk registry has to be, if the situation would happen, how we prepared we should be, so where should be complete supply chain mapping, even be aware of the nodes which you are not using, right? So that would be very helpful. Yeah.
I'm going to go to my humanitarian person now.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful presentation. Here we have learned a lot of complexities involved, like healthcare supply is not as simple as commercial supply chain. Our sole agenda is only to make a money. Here also we are serving the people. Apart from money, we are doing some social work also. Second thing, we have learned the risk, uncertainty, all things are involved. The third thing is, sir, you have given the validation with a lot of practical example internationally. So this is something, it was very enjoyable, and I in future I want to connect this with the humanitarian sector also. Different NGOs, army people are involved in saving the lives. So I think both are integrated, both are complementary, humanitarian and healthcare supply chain. So that's all the. Thank you, sir.
To my repurposed person in the front.
First of all, thank you, sir. Good morning, ma'am. Before coming here, like I was thinking, I'm an engineer, and what will I do? I will be surrounded by doctors. What will I learn here and all? This thing is coming from long time. I landed in Bharat Electronics. I worked in defense electronics. Then I fortunately got this medical distribution. So that time this question was there, why I am going here. I was trying to get back to defense electronics again. But for this course, I would consider it as a positive ripple effect. This is, now I am very much convinced that there are many things here which need specific and very, very like conscious attention. Unconsciously, there are many things, like I learned these things unconsciously unknown to consciously unknown. So I was unknown to many things unconsciously. Now I'm unknown, it's still, but consciously. So I could work there. Here, the connection with practical examples was tremendous. It motivated a lot, and it shows new pathway also that these things are there. In discussion also, I can relate one practical with my own city. there were like 400 something ambulance there, and there were people dying someday. These were a very big news. I don't take the name of that leader, but yes, still government is putting the effect at macro level. Somewhere we are lagging, so there we have lots of opportunity, and hopefully I would be continuing in that. Thank you once again, sir.
Go ahead.
Recently they have started a Department of Medical Science and Technology. So there, this is a 4 years BS program, but it is more of integrating, the AI, data science, everything in healthcare sector. So that's, if you want to do internships there, you are most welcome to associate with that department. No doubt they want engineering background because IIT is this one, but there are possibilities of collaborating with that department.
Okay. To my skeptist. I am classifying people. Then we'll go to the clusters afterwards. All in a good way.
Sir, thank you, sir, for coming to India to teach us. We are very fortunate because we do not get the opportunity to go and meet you, but you have come here to teach us, so that's very valuable for all of us. And that is thanks to Madam and GAN course. I agree with my classmates that we have learned a lot. First is we learned how to ask the critical questions. What is supply chain governance? How do we look at it through things like transparency, visibility, and who are all the stakeholders involved, and how to make it agile, sir. But I have a question.
I told him. Did I not label him correctly? Go ahead, please.
When we talk about lean, we know that there are types of waste. We have a pull. We have these things. But when we talk about agile, what I understood is it has to be flexible. It has to be responsive. But what exactly makes something agile? When we look at something, we know it's lean or something. How do we identify agile processes? Because we were working on this resilience matrix where it is mentioned as agile supply chains. That is still not clear.
So if you look at that, one way to look at it, very many ways of looking at agility. Agility, as you know, is a huge topic. But simplistically, if you want to look at it, look at 2x2 matrix that I showed of demand uncertainty versus supply uncertainty. So you are in that quadrant where both are uncertain. Remember, you go back to the peak of COVID and the globe needed PPAs, right? The globe needed ventilators, not just one hospital, not just one part of the world, entire world. So suddenly the demand uncertainty was peaking for the products. At the same time, the availability, which otherwise is very easy to control, both the PPEs and other devices, became very scarce. So you fell into that category. So you had to depend on all three quadrants, what type of strategies you would use. Quadrant one was efficiency-based strategies. So how can you efficiently use? People talked about, the public hospitals, how they started using the oxygen levels and things of that kind. People even recalibrated a lot of things on the go. So that efficiency type of thing. Then pooling of resources, if you are on a supply uncertainty, quadrant 3. Then responsiveness, which is quadrant 2. So all these three things had to be brought in to bear upon the situation. Do you have the ability to respond in that way? That is the agility. Agility is as much as a thought process, as much as it's a strategy. So that's how I would look at it.
So I just have one request that 5 days is not sufficient. It's such a big thing. If future more courses where we can actually learn all the detailed way, and the request is also to share the literature for future learning.
Yeah, we will do that. That one is guaranteed. We'll come to you.
Thank you.
Plus, my wife is already angry that I'm not there. with 4 years. Anyway, now let me go to my clusters. Before the cluster, the person who has interesting take on disabilities and things like that. Go ahead with your thoughts.
Sir, I had absolutely no even rudimentary knowledge about supply chain before coming here. And I also had no idea how I would be able to link this to my course and my future career goals. But after coming here, I realized that from cost and economic standpoint of view, this has been very useful when it comes to resource allocation. So in the future, if I'm going to be making predictions and consulting cost allocation, then I will certainly now be able to keep supply chain operations in my mind and be more mindful of that. And another thing is recently, I think last month, WHO launched a global agenda for evidence-based policy making. In that, there was a lot of representation on how to use research data, how to use clinical data, and how to use population data. But after coming here, I understand that supply chain data is also extremely important when it comes to drafting policies. So in the future, if I get to be a policy maker, then I'll be mindful and realistic of supply chain and operations. So that is something I didn't guess that I would learn from here, but I did. And I think it's been really useful. So thank you so much for the course.
Thank you. I hope you are true to what you say when you become the policy maker. To my refurbishing person.
Oh, yes. Hello, sir. So thank you for giving the opportunity for participating in this course, sir. Actually, I'm just very new for this subject, and then whatever you telling, like each and every that word also I'm just noting it. So like also new for me. Like I'm just learning a lot. Maybe it be useful for that because I just noted that you are just told 5R. In that I'm just looking at remanufacture in futures. I'm going to, because here in India we are doing it refurbish and reuse. We are doing it, and remanufacture. I'm just thinking about it. So some of my colleagues, last 25 years I'm working in the overall industrial field. A lot of electrical, electronics, and biomedical side, and now I'm teaching side. So many like the collaborations. Like I'm just thinking about this like remanufacture thing. Like that's what I'm taking, and this and all the inputs whatever you gave, I'm just taking away. Like thank you so much, madam. Like both of you.
We'll start with our cluster. CMC cluster there, over there. Pass it on. Anybody representing them?
So hi professors, hi everyone. So we are second year CMC MHA students. So in our first year we had a topic called supply chain management. So that was totally internal. So what happens in CMC, how procurement happens, how the purchase cycle happens. So we are aware of what happens in CMC. But you took us through what is happening overall internationally within India and all those things. So thank you for taking us through that. And you shared a lot of real life examples even with your life itself. So that was really like motivating, and yeah, it helped us to have a look through in what supply chain is and what happens is. So thank you for that. And special thanks to ma'am Sujan and Shubha ma'am for providing accommodation, food and all those things. Then we CMCites are always late, like as you told, because our work life starts at 8 o'clock there, but here it starts at 10 o'clock. So thanks to IIT for giving us a good sleep at least. So yeah,
but still people didn't.
So thank you.
Okay, anybody there in that cluster? Anybody else wants to chime in?
So maybe we are from healthcare sector. We always look what happened and what is the existing problem. We don't be prepared for what is coming up. So only this COVID enlightened us. So still, after coming here, I know, like I understood that we should be prepared for the future thing as well. So through what is the important, the research, the datas, how to look things in a different way, and there is nothing wrong. So we see a lot of views on one thing, that we see a lot of different views. So operationally it is very important as we become administrators in futures. So when we enter into this operation aspect, so it's better, and it's important to look into different views and to make decisions. So this thing I have learned, and there was a lot of push from the faculties, and that though it's a short course, a lot of information, but it is kept in a very simplest way, and they made it very helped us a lot, like through to learn things. Even the Excel, it's all complex for us, this maths and stuffs. We're from science background, most of us, but still it has made easy. Thank you for the efforts, and we are grateful, and we are looking forward, like if there is anything up or any intention to up. And also we see in terms like supply chain, there is a lot of scope in future, I suppose. After this COVID outbreak, we see the importance of supply chain through a lot of examples. Yeah, thanks.
Good. Anybody to this cluster now?
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. So as he told that we all are from medical background and we don't understand what is running behind. So we just see that we want the thing, we order it, like let's say whatever equipments we need, we just order it, we want it there and we use it. But actually we don't know what all stuffs are like running in the background. So it was very useful, and now at least we can understand then how to use the things optimally, because it's not only about the money and everything is involved, the labor and like human things are also involved. So we can be more thoughtful that we should use the things in a very optimistic way, not to waste also, because a lot of things and lot of labor is involved in the background. And for us, as he told that we like as we are going to be like future administrators, so we can keep things in mind, and how can we segregate these things, and so also, and how can we like we can have a thought that how supply chain works from behind, and at last we can provide a very like less cost for our patients. So thank
So when the nurse comes to you next time and asks for gloves, don't be mean.
Sure.
Anyway.
No, you can hide with procurement. Yeah.
Both ways, a very good point. But all right, anybody else in this cluster? Any other thoughts? Anybody else? They're all okay? Okay, hold on. Go back to my construction guy at the back. He's the one doing research in construction, so we want our building guy, civil.
Regarding this like healthcare sector, I don't have any idea, but somewhat regarding supply chain management, I have somewhat idea. But after coming to this course, I have a broader perspective, like what happens in the supply chain, what happens behind the chain and all, and how the things are running, and what happened in the COVID really. Like being in homes, we just know that this is happening, these cases are going on, what the government is saying, we don't know that. But seeing this, how the inventory was managed, how the government was managed, and like study cases like GM and Tesla were helping the government for having the ventilators. These are some of the things we never knew. But coming to this course, knowing that these were there and these helped, gives me some hope. Like different supply chains have their different scenarios in world which come together when they need. And I hope I can get some of these ideas into my research project, which will be helpful for me and helpful for my country. That's all.
Fantastic. Cluster here. You guys have any other thoughts there? Okay, then go to the right here. Yes. PR spokespeople from there.
First of all, good morning, sir. I am a PGDHA student. Thank you for giving these opportunities. I have somewhat about supply chain, just as materials flowing from fluent flow. I just know somewhat glimpse about the supply chain. I just coming to this course, I know about what is the background from more about that. I have learned about many matrix, and I have
Not the movie Matrix, but this.
Different types of uncertainty matrix and supply chain resilience matrix and a case study is more interesting. We have to learn. We learned in the class. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Now, finally, to my quiet cluster. Start with here. One of these two. Who? Yeah.
Well, not really, that would be more.
Hello, good morning, sir. I am Vijay and I am from IIT Roorkee. So, my two main takeaway from this course is, so first one is we need to use our data efficiently to get rich informations. As you mentioned that we are data rich and information poor. And the second one is, after analyzing pre and post COVID condition, the resilient supply chain is the necessity now. And I have got some research question for me, as my background is environmental engineering right now, that what is the sustainability status of healthcare supply chain, and what is the energy consumption hotspot in healthcare supply chain, and what are the carbon and water, mainly ecological footprint, what is the ecological footprint of this supply chain, and what we can do with the biomedical or hospital waste. Can we convert this waste into any kind of energy? These things. Thank you.
Gentlemen, next.
Put the article, right? Can you share that with them?
Yeah, put everything in that thing when you have.
Interesting news article have come.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, all. Myself, Manish Kumar, from IIT Roorkee, pursuing my PhD. This is my first year. And first of all, I would like to thanks to sir and organizing committee, and also my professor, my guide, supervisor, Professor A. Ramesh, and who introduced this course and motivated to join this. Here we discuss about some challenges in healthcare and probable solution which can be done by digitization and digitalization. And this is area to explore. For me, it is to need to more exploration. Thank you.
Clear. Conclude. My quiet cluster.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, ma'am. First of all, I would like to thank to you and ma'am for delivering such a wonderful content from last 4 days. And I have learned a lot of things through this course, and I will implement for my future prospect. And again, I would like to thank GAN course for delivering such a wonderful opportunity to us. Thank you.
Hello, my English is very poor, so I can speak Tamil. Basically, perishable food supply chain management, my topic. So I related for vegetable. I like it vegetable. So which type of data I given for transactional operational and clustering on my research area majority warehouse, enhancing sustainability in warehouse for cold chain logistics. So many number of I think collected. So it's given lot of information I have collected.
Thank you. Okay, now a big round of applause to Sujan. Because without him, nothing would have. It's easy for us to dream, but to operationalize something, we need somebody like Sujan. So thank you for. Yeah. And a round of applause to my partner here. She came up with the idea, so then we put it together. So
Thanks to you, sir. You have come all the way despite, you have faced so many challenges.
this was supposed to happen last year.
So even the option was there for the online course, but Professor came all the way here. It was much. Thank you.